Welcome to BJJ in real time and real life with Professor Sammy Garcia. This show focuses on the mental, emotional, and physical aspects of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Professor Sammy Garcia is a multi-time champion and has competed in BJJ, Judo, Grappling, and Boxing.
Hi everybody, welcome to BJJ. My name's Lee Honish. I'm joined by Teixeira Garcia's professor, owner, operator, Teixeira Garcia. Sammy Garcia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So we decided to put together a podcast for all of you guys out there so that you had a different philosophy to look at, competition-wise. And we thought we'd kick off immediately. We were just talking about this before we started. Talking about first contact. I know it's been coming up a lot lately on the boards. You see it on the BJJ Times. Everybody talks about why are you taking BJJ in the first place? And two of those actually kind of go back to what the episode's about. But two of those points, one is either competition, right? Sports competition or self-defense. The third is, of course, for cardiovascular and health purposes, and we'll just rule that one out. So let's just talk about the other two. BJJ, first point of contact and taking the first strike. We were just laughing about it, talking about Henner's video where they talk about it almost in great detail. And it comes up a lot. Marcello brings it up. You had reposted an article by Drysdale about it. How important is, from your perspective as a multi-time champion and a competitor all your life, how important is the first point of contact?
I think it's really important for the reason of being first for self-defense. There's a distance management when somebody's close enough to you that they can strike you, grab you, take you down, or kick, whatever they want to do. At that point, they're in your space. You have to engage first or make the distance and keep the distance. But if you know that the guy is, or girl or person is going to be attacking you, kind of see it in their eyes maybe, or just have that feeling, you want to attack first. And it doesn't have to be a strike. That's why I love jiu-jitsu is I can control the grips, I can control the distance with gripping, and then initiate a takedown to be able to use my jiu-jitsu on the ground. Or just to control them and let them know that they can't do what they think they want to, maybe grabbing both wrists, from that point. It's going to be hard for them to strike with their hands. They can kick or headbutt, but it's...
Well, let's take it from perspective number one, which is self-defense, which logically, if I was taking BJJ for any purpose, first and foremost, it would be for my own self-confidence and self-defense. I would think. I mean, I'm probably a little nuttier than everybody else, but by and large, the students, you've been operating your own gym for a while now. What is the number one reason why people take BJJ from your perspective?
Self-defense. I think most people walking in, majority are thinking self-defense for their kids. A lot of them come in for their kids, and then they end up staying for themselves after they see what it does for their kids. But yeah, definitely they come in for the self-defense.
Okay, and that's what makes BJJ unique as compared to Taekwondo and destroying boards and the whole nine, as we were laughing about earlier. But how your kids program is exceptional. It's one of the hallmarks, plus your white belt program. You're constantly ranked competition-wise. Let's start with the kids. Is it difficult to teach kids to take the first move, to teach them to, or are they such clean slates that it's easier?
No, I think kids are easier to teach anything to compared to adults. They are, like you said, clean slates, and they're already going to school, so they're in the process of already used to learning, which adults sometimes we're away from school for so long. Not that we're not constantly learning, but a kid is in that environment of always being taught something daily, where we're sometimes doing repetitional work or whatever our day is. But a kid is, I believe, easier from what I've seen and done, and to teach is a lot easier than adults.
Okay. So there's so many different topics to the main topic, and I want to try to keep it as coherently straight as possible. So kids or adults, your first priority, at least I've been here long enough to see it, your first priority is to make sure that they have the stamina to do jiu-jitsu just as much as having the technique. How important is that before you even take the first contact?
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to have contact with anybody or even run from somebody without stamina, because they're going to catch you. Or trying to fight somebody and not having the stamina. Maybe the guy's in better shape. You may even be more technically, you've been learning self-defense. Could be any self-defense. But if you're in bad shape and the guy is in better shape than you, or he attacks first and you're on defense and you're getting constantly hit or taken down, you're going to get tired. And then when you're tired, it's going to be really hard to defend yourself. So being in shape is the first thing we do in class. 20 minutes of conditioning with 10 minutes of stretching is the beginning of every class.
And most schools aren't structured that way. I mean, if I was walking in off the street, and the reason we started with the first point of contact, I guess there's a little bit of a rewind. I guess everybody walks in with the when am I going to choke somebody kind of mentality of how soon am I going to learn to armbar, how soon am I going to learn to triangle and do all the stuff I watch in the UFC, and it doesn't really work that way.
Right. First you need to learn position, okay, and get in shape like we talked about. You have to get a strong core because a lot of jiu-jitsu requires up and down, coming off the ground, lots of dynamic movements where you're constantly using your core. And if you don't have a strong core or in shape, cardio wise, and you're not flexible, that's another topic. You're gonna most of the time get hurt, especially if you're rolling. It could be with maybe another guy. He may be new also, but maybe he's done hockey, or maybe he's done boxing, maybe he's done football, another sport or any other contact sport or a sport that requires being in shape. So he's in better shape than you, and you can get hurt because you're not even close to that level of physicality.
Well, then let's break it down systematically from there. So I come in, I work on conditioning, I get comfortable. Obviously, learning how to take the bumps and the falls are a big part of it as well, the rolling and the stretching. And then you start to segue into what is sort of the hallmark for your white belts and up, which is you have a competition mentality that is run here. It's sort of there. We were talking about this earlier. It's definitely a survival of the fittest when it comes to getting around time for competition, especially for those that are committed to going to competition. I don't know if people mentally, I don't know if I walked into a chain type Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place and trained for a year or so and decided I was going to go to a tournament, would I get the same thing that I'm getting here, or another person who's been in competition like yourself? I mean, how important is that to sort of have that pedigree of knowing this is what it's going to be like? And the reason for competition is for self-defense, because somebody who's going to try to kill you is really going to try to, ultimately kill you. Right. They're not going to just use technique.
Right. Yeah, I think competition, when you walk in here, we have a lot of competitors, and it's structured that way. I bring some of my higher belts to the beginners class to help push them. And I think people know right off the bat if they want to compete or not. Not everybody does. And the classes are structured for everybody, from teenagers, the adult classes, to teenagers to the guy that's older or female, mom, soccer mom, or mom, stay-at-home mom, or the working mom. And it's structured for all of them. That's why we do the cardio, the stretching, getting in shape. Is like becoming an athlete to do jiu-jitsu. Um, but if you want to compete, we push accordingly, and we have extra classes for that after class. And if someone is competing, we're getting ready for a tournament, we push them accordingly. And most people want to help. If they're coming to class and they see we have competitors, they want to help their teammate get ready. So it's never a problem. Even if they're not competing, they still want to be involved in the competition team, even if they're not on the competition team for the competition, but they're helping out their teammate that is a competitor.
It's good. Let's break it down from a self-defense standpoint. So I'm in a situation, I'm in a bar, I'm obviously waiting for somebody to throw the first punch. Or that's at least what everybody's puffing up to get to that point. What is it that makes BJJ so unique in that situation? And when should the first contact be? I mean, obviously, logically, because we talked about this, the being able to walk away from it and not engage in the first place with the confidence of, yeah, it doesn't have to happen that way. But for the sake of discussion here, let's talk from a self-defense standpoint. It's going to be a situation where you can't get out of it and someone's going to cause you bodily injury. First contact.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to do? It's not going to be a classic gi. I'm not going to lock up with this guy and
Right. For me, standing your ground, not allowing someone to put me on the ground. So takedowns do come into play right away, which if you get put on the ground, even if you have good jiu-jitsu, you don't know if his friend is going to come around and kick you in the head, pulling guard on the ground, inside of a bar in a close quarters like that. I personally wouldn't go to the ground with inside of a bar. You don't know when a fight happens, I don't believe you know who you're going to fight. You don't know if he has friends. You don't know if he has a weapon. You don't know if just some other drunk guy is going to get involved and for some reason pick his side and kick you in the backside of your head. So for me, I wouldn't let someone take me down. I would attack first, as far as if I knew it wasn't going to be a fight, and I would control the environment of my environment, the area I'm in, and making sure he doesn't put me on my to the ground. So then takedowns come into play. Striking, if you want to. That's why I like jiu-jitsu. Is I don't have to strike. I don't have to hurt my hand, hurt the guy's face, or the same thing with other way around. Getting punched, if I grab him and I take him down to the ground, control the position, and then I'm on top. And then I can either walk away, subdue him, or finish the fight, with an armbar, with a choke. There's many different ways to finish. Then you can even apply your striking if you want to.
Absolutely. Now let's move it over to competition, which is the hallmark of your facility. It literally is. You are constantly, you yourself being a champion, and this place constantly winding up in the top 10. I was even making the comment about Vegas a couple of weeks ago with only a few people competing. You're still in the top 10 because everybody's still medaling and placing out. It seems to me that the way you coach and the way you drive your jiu-jitsu and the way you teach it, much like the Drysdale article, it is about the takedown. Like, it's going to be on the feet. The fight in the bar is going to start on the feet. No matter what anybody wants to say, everything starts up. And I don't know if most people take that into account in BJJ. Like, on some level, like, everybody's going to drop to their back and pull a guard or...
Right, definitely. Sometimes when we're in the gym, we get comfortable, and that's good. You want to be comfortable, but sometimes we forget. When you're in a bar, you're in the street, you're just walking to the liquor store to go buy bubble gum or putting gas, and a guy's drunk. It's not realistic to always think that you're going to be able to go to your back. The fight does start standing up, and it eventually goes to the ground, but I want to be in control of that. scenario. I want to be in control of the self-defense.